we see her husband just absolutely implode. I mean, he fucking implodes worse than the goddamn Titanic submarine, okay? I mean, this... All right, what is going on, guys? Today we are back with another video, and honestly, we're doing something kind of out of the usual for the channel. We're actually talking today about a TV show, more and specifically a game show. And pretty much this game show it's crazy. It is called The Moment of Truth, I believe, or it might just be Moment of Truth, something like that. And basically, right, the premise of the game show is you go in, you take a lie detector test, you know, they ask you all these questions, whatever. They get your results for when you're telling the truth, when you're not telling the truth, stuff like that. Typical lie detector kind of procedure thing. And then they go ahead and they ask you what I believe are, you know, the same questions vaguely. They leave a couple out because, you know, it's supposed to kind of be a shock when you get up there, right? And, you know, you answer these questions on national television, right? For the whole nation to see. And, you know, now with the internet and stuff like that, most likely the whole world to see. You're answering all these deeply personal questions. And just to make it a little bit worse, not only is there a live audience, which is very odd. I'm sure we'll probably see it in some of the clips we take a look at, because they kind of react strangely to some situations. But not only is there a live audience watching you, but you also have typically your parents, as well as maybe a sibling and your significant other sitting there to watch you answer these questions. And now these are not like little tiny, you know, like elementary school playground secrets that they're asking you here. These are like life-ruining questions if you give the wrong answer and it happens to be true. And also, to add on to this, I do believe that you can stop at any time during the show. Like, you could say, I'm just taking the money. Or, I don't know, maybe you have to get to a certain, you know, area and say, I'm just taking the money, I'm done. But you can also keep going. You can go all the way. And, you know, the questions get progressively worse, right? So, you know, you could damage your life more and more, all for the small fee of, you know, $500,000, right? Or not the small fee, but the small prize of $500,000, which, I mean, I don't know, for some people that might be worth ruining their life. But if you happen to lie, you know, if you're a little untruthful up there, you lose everything. So really, this show is just a massive loss. I don't know why anybody would ever go on it. In fact, from all of the episodes I've watched, never once have I gone, you know, I think I might do this. Yeah, it would just be a strict no for me in every single circumstance. But we're going to take a look at maybe a couple people who got, you know, severely unlucky. They answered some really poor questions. And unfortunately, they most likely ended up with their life ruined. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and play the first clip now.
Welcome to a special Monday night edition of The Moment of Truth. This episode was so controversial, it sparked a long debate as to whether or not to air it at all. Quite honestly, if I had my vote, it would not air. It is the most uncomfortable I've ever been on television, asking these questions and listening to the answers that were given. But in the end, it was decided that this episode should air. I will tell you, however, that the truth is often not pretty.
Okay, so, you know, if you didn't believe me, maybe you didn't, you know, you don't have to. I'm just some random guy on the internet. We have the wonderful host of this show, Mark Wahlberg. And now, this is not the Mark Wahlberg, I can't say his name. This is not the Mark Wahlberg that you were probably expecting when I said Mark Wahlberg. I don't know why his name is so hard to say. This is Mark L. Wahlberg. You know, the other Mark Wahlberg, also involved in the acting sphere, right? Now, interesting fact, actually, this guy also hosts, more recently, a show called Temptation Island, which if you watch Noel Miller, you're probably familiar with. And it's actually a show that I did a video on that was never released because I didn't actually end up liking it. But so I do have experience with this guy. And let me tell you, this guy loves to watch people suffer on television. It's like I've never seen a more almost evil man in my entire life. He doesn't actually do anything that evil. He more of just presents evidence and then watches it unfold in front of him. And yeah, you know, he really does the same thing here, if we're being honest. And yeah, you know, we could tell that this is going to be bad when he is saying this made him uncomfortable and he did not want to air it. After seeing the things that he has done on television, that's a shocking, you know, statement to make, right? But, you know, let's take a look at some of the more juicy clips from the episode.
That you keep secret from your mother.
Yes, I do.
That answer is true.
Yeah.
Okay, so this right here, this is a very tame one. You know, given the show in its full effect. So basically, you know, we have, you know, not a bad question for the show. Now, is this a bad question if you were randomly asked it by somebody? Absolutely. Especially when you have to answer it in front of both of the parents involved in this question. You know, it's a very uncomfortable situation. And so she goes ahead and she says, yes, she, you know, protects secrets of her dad's, you know, from her mom. So there's some crazy wild shit that her dad is doing that, you know, her mom apparently has no idea about. And, you know, there's a long pause, which I think the long pause speaks for itself. You know, it's one of those moments where like you could literally cut the tension with like a knife in that room. You know, it was just so bad. But so, you know, beyond that though, she goes ahead, she answers true. It turns out to be, or she says yes, or whatever the fuck she said. It turns out to be the truth. And that means she moves forward, right? Happy days, right? Everything's great. However, we have to remember that these people are going to ride home in the car together. And the people I'm talking about here are the mother and father. That mother now knows that this father has done something that the daughter knows about and that the mother does not know about. And the most concerning part is that the dad then gets up instantly and goes and hugs his daughter, which makes me think that this dude has done some seriously fucked up shit. And there is no way this wife is just going to, you know, let that slide, like just let that go. You know, that is like, that's going to sit with her forever now. And that's why I'm saying this show is like not your typical game show. This has like lifelong lasting effects behind it. Like, sure, you might win $500,000, but you also win the whole rest of your life going to therapy for how fucked you just made your entire family and like half the people you've ever known. So yeah, you know, it's interesting, but we'll definitely get worse. Don't worry.
Question 14. Do you believe you might have been in love with a former boyfriend on your wedding day? Oh, man.
Yes, I believe I was.
That answer is true.
I mean, okay, now we've hit the point where, to me, the show has kind of stopped being funny and has now just become absolute torture, right? Don't get me wrong, it was already bad before, but this is the part where it's just, I mean, it's just terrible. You know, nobody should have to go through this. Like, I don't care how much money I'm getting. I don't want to be her husband sitting there right now, because that is just so bad. She gets asked, were you in love with somebody else when you married your husband or on your wedding day or whatever? And that's pretty bad if that's true. And if that is true, maybe it is for some people, right? But that's just kind of something you keep to yourself, or like you just don't let that out, maybe don't tell the person that ever, because that's like some crushing news, that is like some truly just terrible news to hear, right? There's no other real way to put that. And, she goes ahead and she says, yeah, I was. And not only do you see, Frank, her husband, die. I mean, you have just watched a man die inside. There's nothing left inside of that guy anymore. He is beginning his Joker arc, okay? This is it. This is time for supervillain Frank to come out. But you also watch her mom just crumble. I mean, her face is just, it says it all. I mean, not even I can commentate more than what her face says. It's just, I mean, this is just a terrible situation. And we're still not even at the worst bit. It gets worse. So yeah, let's just keep watching this woman just absolutely destroy any relationship she's ever had with somebody.
Oh my.
Lauren, can you tell everybody who this is? Or do I need to do it?
I can't speak right now, so.
This is your ex-boyfriend, Frank. Hello, Frank. How you doing? Frank has a question for you. Question 15.
If I wanted to get back together with you, would you leave your husband?
Hold on. That question is a devastating question. Of course. You could avoid this right now by hitting the button, Frank. No?
Okay, so now here is, a new mechanic, right, that I haven't quite introduced you guys to for this show. Now, if a question is too intense and somebody does not want to hear it, they have one opportunity as a collective group sitting on the fucking torture couch over there. They have one collective, veto of a question, right? They could say, I do not want to hear that. No, thank you. Let's move the fuck on. And, you would assume that the husband would probably want to use that at this point. But I don't think he gives a shit anymore. That man died inside. We watched that. Now, the mother, who we also thought kind of died inside, she apparently just had a little bit left in her, and she went ahead and pressed that button. So that gets rid of the question. However, it doesn't move you forward, and it also doesn't end the show. So, you just get asked an alternative question, which is sometimes good.
Once again, question 15.
Do you believe I'm the man you should be married to?
Well, wow. Want to be honest and say yes.
That answer is true.
So, not really a better question. That's pretty bad, in fact. And, you know, we watch her husband, further plot his revenge upon the world. And this episode is particularly bad because not only is she one of the worst human beings that has gone on this show, because trust me, there's some other ones where if they do answer a difficult question, they feel really bad about it if it was true. And, you know, or they just don't have like that bad of things, right? Like she is genuinely not a good person. And, you know, that has kind of shown. But, also, I just want to take a second to talk about the audience, right? Because I mentioned them earlier. And the audience is just relentless. So I actually made a mistake earlier, but it was the sister who pressed the button, not the mom. And, the audience booed because the audience just really wanted to hear that question, right? And then after she answers this new question, which is honestly just as bad, if not worse, then the audience just cheered like their nation won the World Cup. Like they were so excited to hear that she would rather be married to her ex-boyfriend as opposed to her husband. Like, I feel like me being, a normal person and having general empathy for other people and, the problems that they may face and what they go through, I don't think I would be like jumping up and down, super happy that I just watched somebody literally destroy multiple relationships in their life. Like that is terrible for $100,000. That's it. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a shit ton of money, but like when you really put it into perspective, it's not really worth it. It really isn't, but it gets worse.
16. Since you've been married, have you ever had sexual relations with someone other than your husband? I wish the button was still there.
Yeah, telling me.
I'm gonna have to say yes.
That answer is true.
Now, for me personally, this was like the worst question of the episode, right? This is what it all led up to. Because honestly, I don't think anybody really wants to know what she got out on. Don't worry, I will tell you, but we'll get to that. So, she keeps going, despite her mom telling her not to. And, she goes. And the hardest hitting question of them all. Have you ever basically just straight up cheated on your husband? Now, this man has already been through hell. We have sufficiently destroyed this man. His ego, his pride, his well-being, we have just fucking stomped on it, right? But then she decides, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to answer this question. And she says yes. And now this is the point where you as a watcher and most likely a normal human being probably thinks, please let it not be true. Even if she loses all of this money, just let that not be true, please. And then it just so happens to be true. And we see her husband just absolutely implode. I mean, he fucking implodes worse than the goddamn Titanic submarine, okay? I mean, this dude just, it's terrible. It's a fucking tragedy for this guy. And, and what makes it worse is that last question that she got asked, which I believe was the next question, because I watched the whole episode, but, I don't want to put you guys through that because this show's fucking difficult to watch. Do you think you're a good person? And now she said yes, which I think a lot of us have kind of already determined to not be true. And, to nobody's surprise, it said no. It said she didn't tell the truth, which means she destroyed basically every important relationship within her life. And on top of that, she did not get a fucking penny. She destroyed her life and did not even get a penny for it. I mean, that is just tragic. I mean, that is so bad. I can't even imagine the fucking car ride home. I mean, if they even made it home. This is like the type of shit where people are arguing so fucking much in the car, they might have crashed the fucking car on the way home. I mean, or who even knows? I mean, this dude might have just intentionally fucking swerved into traffic for all I know. I mean, honestly, in his position, can you really blame him? I mean, this man has just been openly humiliated on national fucking television. So yeah, this is probably the worst show ever made. In fact, it is so bad, actually, that taking a step away from watching the episode and kind of commentating on it, it is so bad, in fact, that there was actually a episode that is considered lost media. People have not found it, as far as I'm aware, because they decided not to release it. So when he was saying all that stuff in the beginning that you may just think, oh, this is just to hype up the show. No, they actually have not released episodes of the show because it has gotten so bad. The one in particular that I am talking about, there was a girl who grew up in a polyamorous community in Utah, and she experienced some pretty fucked up things there. There was a lot of the whole, bad aspects, right? Stuff that YouTube doesn't really like to let me talk about. YouTube doesn't like it, which nobody really likes it, but it is kind of difficult to report on it when YouTube is so strict on these kinds of things. But she went through some of that stuff. She kind of exposed her dad. She kind of exposed the whole community. It was a fucking shit show. Nobody's really seen it, but there's screenshots, and she said in interviews that was kind of what happened later on, because she wanted it to be released. She kind of wanted to expose the whole thing, so other people didn't suffer the kind of abuse that she went through, not only as a child, but I would also assume somewhat later in life. But yeah, it was some fucking terrible things. You can look up other shit on that. For example, I think it's in a video by Blame It On Jorge, fantastic YouTuber for lost media and shit like that. So yeah, if that sounds interesting, or if that aspect of the show interests you, you can go take a look at that. If you're more interested in what we did for majority of this video, and you want to see more of it, maybe from a different person or maybe a different episode, Cody Ko, as well as a kind of smaller YouTuber than Cody Ko, but still, relatively big, Chris James, they both, I know, have talked about the show, and I've watched both of their content on it. It's pretty good. So if you're, hungry for more people just fucking torturing their family members, you can go ahead and check out their videos, because they have also made some. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys like this kind of content where I kind of talk about like TV shows and stuff like that, let me know, and I might do a couple more, because I do like watching other YouTubers who kind of do that thing. And it's definitely interesting. I can definitely see myself maybe reacting to some more shows in the future if you guys enjoy. Also, this is the first video that I have recorded since hitting 1,000 subscribers, and I am absolutely thrilled. I like, literally, there are not words to express how, thankful I am for all of you guys for watching the videos, for subscribing, for liking, for commenting, for doing all of that. It really means a lot to me, and getting to 1,000 was something that I kind of didn't think I was going to hit really ever. Honestly, I started uploading like consistently like 2 years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago now. And I've just been going for it. And really my goal was just to see if I could hit 100. And now to be at 1,000, it's absolutely incredible. I'm so happy that we hit that. There will be a 1,000 subscriber special. I know I promised some of these before and then like never really delivered on them. But trust me, there will be for 1,000 because it is just too big of a number to really ignore. So, or even like, you know, just move on from. It's truly like a milestone that I feel like I've hit on YouTube. So there will be a special for that, which is just going to be kind of more channel related. It's not going to be so like, you know, reacting to something fucking crazy. It's going to be more based in the channel and just celebrating that we made it to 1,000. So, you know, thank you guys so much for watching and supporting. It means a lot to me. I guess the next goal going forward is 1,500. So, you know, 1,500 in other words. So, yeah, you know, let's try and get to there as soon as possible. I mean, maybe we could hit it by the end of the year, honestly, because 1,000 was my end of the year goal for this year, and we've fucking smashed that, and we're barely over halfway through the year. So, I don't know. Maybe we could try and hit 1,500 by the end of the year. That would be awesome. So, thank you guys so much for watching. It means a lot to me. As always, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. You guys fucking deserve it. You're awesome. And, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.